at investment as a driver of green jobs, and it's part of the discussions on this second day of the Green Jobs Summit at Green Week in 2017. My name is Aminda Leigh. I'm a former BBC journalist and broadcaster, and I'm now working out of Rome. I specialise in environmental issues particularly, and I'm delighted I'm going to be your moderator for the next 90 minutes. Interpretation is available in English on Channel 1, French on Channel 2, and German on Channel 3. And I do know that one of our panelists will be speaking in French, so if you need headsets, they're just outside the door. You need to leave a document, it's very easy. Just so you know, while we're talking about interpretation, the interpreters will have to leave at 1 o'clock, unfortunately. So the last half an hour of our discussions, we're going to have to wing it one way or another. Before we start, please do check that your mobile phones are back on silent. I'm sure in the break you may have been making calls. But do tweet. Our hashtag is EU Green Week. And talking about communication online, this year we have a new way of communicating with each other at Green Week. It's called Slido. And I have to, you've got the instructions on your badges, but I'll just go through them quickly. You just need to type in slido.com into the browser of your laptop, tablet, or smartphone, and then you enter the code EU Green Week. Then you put your name and your company, where you're from, and then you can see comments that other people are making, and you can also then reply to them. You can also organise to meet people up in person as well, down at the Slido meeting point, which is just in front of the ballroom, the main plenary room. So, turning to our session today, and we've got 4 panellists to discuss investment as this driver of green growth. Slight change to the programme. Unfortunately, Sharon Carroll has changed departments in the Galway City Council, and her focus is no longer related to our discussions today, so she decided that it was probably best for her not to come. Our other panellists who are here, we have Jugnes Bistrom, who is Senior Engineer at the Urban Development Division in the European Investment Bank. We have Agnes Gut, who is Coordinator of an co-funded project recovering organic waste called Valorg. We have Andreas Ulein, who is Scientific and Technical Project Officer at the European Commission's Joint Research Centre. And we have Vincenzo M, who will be outlining his experience managing the Puglia Active Network project, which is a major e-distribution initiative in the south of Italy. So, please welcome our panellists, and I'll be introducing them one by one in a moment. So information. So as you previewed earlier on, we're now going to hear about one of the NER 300 funded projects, and here it's actually on the go, and we're going to hear how it's going. The Puglia Active Network is a project to install a smart electricity distribution network in the southern Italian region, known as Apulia in English. Vincenzo M is the project manager, and today he's going to tell us what has been achieved so far and what they hope to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Vincenzo M.
Thank you, Aminda, and thanks to Andreas for having invited me, but mainly I would say thanks to those of you who are here to listen to this very interesting and challenging adventure that I am proud to illustrate you, and I'm living with all of my team and my company. I was at the beginning in doubt if starting with the video that I have sent or the presentation. Then I voted democratically for the presentation first and the video later, and I'm sure you will understand why at the end. Let's first see, just don't be scared, just numbers that I won't talk about. It's just to, I believe it's good for me to introduce myself as I come in another house, so I want you to know who E-Distribuzione is, what we are doing, who is our, I would say, father, which is a global infrastructure and network that you can see here. So we are a part of a bigger machine that we are serving 61 million customers. So you can imagine how challenging this adventure could be. Moving to Italy and zooming very quickly, you can see that we are definitely the main distributor of energy in my country. We have 16,000 employees, and if you imagine to Google and zoom from Italy across the land down to the bottom, you can land finally in Apulia, which is a very beautiful region with a network for electricity distribution that we are remaking up, I would say. We have tested in the years before, thanks to other demonstrative projects that we have developed together also with some partners at a smaller level, smart grid technologies. There was a chance for us to implement them on a wider scale, so we have decided to go for it with Apulia and applying for an NER 300 financing. Successfully, from July 2014, we have achieved our decision to get this financing, and we are proceeding, I would say, with the right speed till the end of the adventure. On the right side of the slide, without going too much in details, I just wanted to give you a flavor of the impact that this has. You can consider that the distribution network is not a greenfield plant, is not something that you can simply power down, rebuild, and power up once again. It's something that has to be managed while it's living. So the network is still living, distributing the energy produced, and we are making our huge intervention on a network while it's still working. It's the main challenge that we have. The percentages you can see there are considering the fact that we are only working on the rural areas of Apulia region, so we are not touching the main cities. And this is the background of it. Why Apulia? Apulia is, as I said, a wonderful region where we are rich of course, solar impact, so solar energy that can be fully used by us to produce green energy, renewable energy, but there is also a lot of wind. If some of you is expert or fond of windsurfing, I can definitely suggest you to go to Apulia to test it. It's definitely a nice place where to go for it. So, before applying for the financing, we have made some rough calculation, and we have decided that there were numbers to start our intervention exactly from this region. Also, you can consider, if you are not familiar with this kind of network, you just have to imagine that since the beginning, as it's not a new technology, distributing energy, since the beginning there were few main big producers, mainly non-green, definitely, producers, and the energy were flowing in one direction straight away. Nowadays, the things are changed. We have more than 40,000 small producers of green energy. So you can imagine that all the network needed to be reassembled, reset up in a way to handle and manage with the right amount of quality the energy that has been that had to be hosted and developed and delivered to the customers. So that's where we are. We have had this financing of up to 50% of the value of the overall project, which is 170 million euros, so it's quite huge for us. And we have three main targets. I won't go that deeper. The targets are indeed a bit more, but we can simply substantiate them in talking about an increase of performances of the grid in terms of quality and in terms of availability and the reliability of the energy, plus two, I would say, economically smaller parts of the project, which are the creation of an eco-sustainable urban model. So we are talking about electric vehicles recharging stations and enable some new services to citizens with some small appliances available to those who are lucky to live in Apulia. Not me, I live in Rome. Which are now the goals that we are expecting. Just to add something on the fully self-explaining, I would say, presentation of Andreas about the NER 300. All the projects have two parts in their life. Once that you get financing, the first part is to deliver, to realize all your intervention. The second part is to exercise.
Interpreters apologise, but they will now be leaving.
Our goals. So we have committed during the 5 years of exercise of this new network to produce 19 terawatt-hour within the 5 years, and that's exactly the main goal, together with, of course, other, I would say, other boundaries that we don't have to trespass. One of these, which is very important, is the knowledge sharing as well. So all the job that we are doing will be shared with the full community, and it's something in light that goes in light of the, I would say, explosion toward the full EU of this new technology in order to have them available to everybody. The quality of service was already being said, also the hosting capacity. The problem of hosting capacity is, I would say, quite a very specific topic, so the only one about which I would say just few words more, and it's due to exactly to the fact that I was telling you before. One producer, 40,000 producers, so the network has to be a good host for all this income of energy produced, and without, of course, creating and causing any sort of technical problem. What we are doing so far is to go into 8,000 of our substations, which are the small houses where the energy is transformed, first from high tension to medium tension, and then from medium tension to low tension, so at these two levels, and we are implementing new devices, using devices that are so-called smart, because they mix electricity concept, typical electricity concept, and digital concept in order to be able to measure and to control and monitor all the network full functionalities. Doing this, we had the necessity to create a structure. It's a project. As any of the projects, there is a team that has to develop it, so that's where we are, like a distribuzione. And with the support of all our partners, which are the Ministry of Environment in Italy and GSE, which is another, I would say, which is the technical expert of the ministry, we are finally viewing the target, which is almost, I would say, approaching. The energy that we are producing will be then transformed in revenue, I would say revenues, which is not an appropriate term, but I would say it's a funding. So the most, out of that 19 terawatt-hour of energy produced, it will be, will come the 85 millions of financing. So that's why we are so focused in achieving the full target that we have so far committed to. Don't be scared. There's the name of the devices that we are going to put there is just to give an overview of the complexity of the project. The higher part of the slide shows you the stage of energy transforming from high to medium tension, and we work only on the medium part, of course. And it's going to happen in overall 200 substations. Then we have these other 8,000 overall medium low voltage substations. Plus, what you probably will see if you go to Apulia, we are, I will go back to this one more time later on, and with the plus we are providing the full region of these electrical vehicle charging stations. It's two of a kind. We have, I would say, advanced but more classical charging station. Plus we have, and this is the new part of the project because we have only one available in Italy as of today, a very fast unit that is able to charge a car fully in 20 to 30 minutes, which is something really interesting for us because it has a lot of implication also, especially specifically for a region like Apulia where tourism is so important. Because it will definitely open the doors to a lot of, to a new kind of tourism. You can imagine on yourself how many implications this can have. The secret for this system to work is the network. I go back to the previous slide because it's not easy to be understood. Just see it as a cloud all the network, you can see Apulia is a quite a long region. All these substations need to talk together and need to talk at the same time. So for doing this, there is only one possibility as of today, and so we have decided to use the wireless network, the LTE, the so-called 4G. Everybody has new smartphones with the 4G on it. Now, this network is covering our substations in order to have the devices talk together and talk with the base, with the control center. So that's the new, I would say, the most interesting technical part. It's a change. It's a change because we are not only now expert in electricity distribution, we are turning a little bit and creating also new professionalities. These people who has to work, and we're still working on these devices, has to be specialized also in other areas of expertise, and this is a change. Also, my company is changing on this, and it's a challenge that we all love and that we are all going for it. Just a very quick view on the project development phase. We have now reached already almost 100% of some of the field of interventions. For some of them, we are working on it. At the moment, I would say we are on time with regards to the plans that we have so far committed to. So the problems are, of course, there, but we are there to face them and to solve them as a company. Of course, just a few words to wrap up and then to leave you with this video. It has been and it's still a huge challenge for us. A lot of people are working on this, I would say hundreds, also because we are not doing it only by ourselves, but we are also working with specialists, contractors that are coming to support us. There are like 7 consortiums only in the Apulia who is working on this, and is of course still specialized in this sort of areas of interventions. To do this, we needed a partner, and we believe that it was a boost. Probably we would have done this anyway in the next years. I'm not sure about it, but it's probably the right direction of a distribution operator. But definitely the availability of such funding programs boosted up our projects and pushed us to work on creating what, as of today, as far as we are aware, is the first smart region that is going to see the light in Europe, probably in the world. I'm not sure, but as of today, we have no data regarding other other regions like us with the smart grids developed on them. Anyway, so it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for us, and of course for the future ones that these technologies will be developed and shared with all the other partners. So from my side, still one more time, thank you for your attention, and I would like to leave you with our official video presentation.
Puglia is the region of Italy that produces the most energy using new renewable sources. Due to a high concentration of small and large zero-emission energy producers and the need to manage an energy supply that exceeds the local consumption requirements, the region has become the ideal area for e-distribuzione to develop the Puglia Active Network project. The project was the winning entry in the NER 300 competition, sponsored by the European Community in the field of projects designed to demonstrate innovative technologies for renewable energies, with the support of the Ministry for the Environment and the Protection of Land and Sea. It will make Puglia the first region in the world to test the efficiency of an innovative electrical system. A smart grid will be implemented for the entire region and will be capable of managing the service with increased flexibility. This will be achieved by integrating the energy generated by the renewable plants distributed throughout the territory and ensuring a constant balance between the supply and demand of energy. Thanks to the use of the most modern technologies, the smart grid in Puglia will be safer and more reliable. It will not only be capable of transporting electricity, but also information and data, which can be used to identify the trends of consumption in real time. The innovation introduced by the Puglia Active Network project will also run fast through the streets of the region. Indeed, the smart grid will also change how people get around in the city. An infrastructure of recharging stations for electric vehicles will be developed on a regional level, enabling people to travel with zero emissions and so without harming the environment. With the Puglia Active Network project, Air Distribuzione confirms its status as a leading name in Italy for energy innovation technologies and renews its real commitment to ensuring the development of the smart grid system. The smart grid paves the way for the smart region. Puglia Active Network, the best way to experience energy.
And that's all by my side. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd now like to ask all our speakers to come up and sit down. We're now going to have about 20 minutes time for question and answer. Thank you for bearing with us while we just got ourselves sorted here. So, from hearing all the things that you've said, I have a quick question before I'm going to open it up to the floor, and I'll come to you first in a moment, okay? Involved in the next session, but the next set of questions, but I would really like to hear from the audience. So there was the gentleman in the white. When you're given the microphone, please tell us your name, where you're from, and since this is being live web streamed, if you're asking a question, it's assumed that you're okay about being on air around the world. So please.
Well, I'm more than okay to being on air all around the world. My name is Sven Arts. I'm actually the environmental judge of the Brussels Capital Region. So all the fines, for example, I assume that there are quite a lot of people living here in Brussels. All the fines on the airplanes, for example, that you read about a lot in the newspapers. It's me who is giving those. If you have the fines on the waste that is not being separated well, it's me who is giving those. Okay. These are bright new shoes because yesterday I ate the ones that I wore yesterday. I do not understand how people like you from Italy, you are so motivated and that you are able apparently to set up a constellation in the government, that you have time to apply for all these fundings, LIFE, the NER 300 funding and so forth, and that you manage to bring all this money, which are huge capitals and who really make a difference in a whole region, not only just in a city, but in a whole region. Can you explain us how on earth it happens that you can create this setting, and what can I do, what do we have to do to create such a setting in other regions in Europe or here, especially in the Brussels Capital Region? The environmental court, if you would go there, it's in the North Station, in one of these offices there. If you go on the door now, it reads closed. I'm at the Green Week, okay? I do not understand that any ministry in the Brussels Capital Region does not have at this time the same sign on their door and that they are not here. It's being delivered to them on a silver platter. Please explain us what kind of a setting you have. Have you like a cell in every entity of your government that follows 100% and nothing but these EU calls for proposals? What happens?
Okay, thank you. I think we've understood, and in fact, it's one of the problems that sometimes applying for this funding is actually a very long and complicated process in itself. Vincenzo, I know you can't speak for the Italian government, and nor would you want to, I would say, but it would be interesting to hear about the answer to the questions, but also anyone else on the panel. I mean, particularly the fact that it's complicated.
First of all, thank you for having made me this question, which is probably the hardest on earth that I would ever had. I thank you for this. And, but I'm trying to give you a reply that is, I would say, my personal opinion on this. Because, of course, as Aminda already told you, I cannot talk about for the government, and I cannot talk in this specific field for all the system that can be behind our participation to the scope. I am a project manager, so I take a project, a full paper, and I try to make my best to bring it up until the end. But what I can tell you by my experience, which is not only in this area, it's a long-lasting experience in managing projects in different countries, not only in Italy. I can tell you that things are not that easy as you can see. There is a lot of job at the background, and the job is done by me, my colleagues, the company, the entire company, I would say. There are people who are keeping contacts continuously with the European community, or with all the organizations. There are people who is going everywhere in the world scouting for opportunities. We bring home the knowledge. We have the technical needs, of course, to develop these things, such a huge project. And there is not a magic wand. Anyway, it's just, I would say it's a serious organization. The government itself helps, of course, because without the member state, we would have never been able to apply for this financing. Without the member state, we would have never been able to come and show our idea of developing our region in a smart way. I would say, I don't know why you are unsatisfied, because according to my view, it's a beautiful city, and I think in Italy we see the things all over Europe with a little part of envy, because we believe things are working everywhere better than in our homeland. So to me, today I'm proud. I think I will come back not by plane, not to pollute and waste. I will come flying like Superman back to home and saying, you see guys, Italy is the best country in the world. But jokes apart, I'm sure it's not like this. I think that there are serious people everywhere, and once that you are able to put all the people together, and of course to supersede political problems, different way of viewing and understanding the things, you can realize such projects. I know it's maybe not satisfactory as a question for you, but your question was a bit too philosophic for me. Thank you. Yeah.
Nothing to add, but I think it's very important, and this capacity building in institutions is maybe overlooked also, I would say, and there's a lot to learn and to share best practices also.
Thank you. There was someone else at the back. Yes, and the lady. And we'll have you two if we have both questions together. Yeah.
I'm Simone Lerma. I come from Italy. I'm a student of environmental and energy economics at the University of Milan, and I had a question for Mr. Emma. I wanted to know, with a smart grid, what kind of efficiency target you aim at achieving, if you had any, and also with the issue of energy, renewable energy intermittency, how do you plan to tackle that? Do you have some storage plans or something as such? Thank you.
Thank you. And can we have the other, can you pass the microphone back to the, there you are, thank you.
Yes, my name is Corinne Lotredou. I'm living in Brussels. I'm a citizen, and I'm also helping projects, citizen projects in the field of agriculture and food. And actually, I have, it's a little bit long, but I think...
No,
I really
long
want to
is
share.
not good. I'm
Okay,
afraid
so
we're
I'll
already
do-
running late. So
I'll do my best. First, I would like to say also in terms of job creation, I don't see how there is an overall assessment of the actual impact of the projects. For instance, destruction of jobs in other sectors, or let's say loss of opportunities in alternative sectors. Just an example, it's very nice to see solar farms, but how do you manage the effect it has on losing land for other very important needs like agriculture? So what kind of multifunctionality, not only just a very narrow view in terms of creation of jobs in one sector and only one use. And I'm also surprised that the EU is still funding biomass as well as biofuels, when we know already it's now recognized that it has a negative overall impact globally and several negative impacts. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you,
the
thank you.
last,
That I'm afraid
is-
we're running late.
I'm
and you
gonna-
can't
sorry,
keep
I have the
everyone
mic,
from,
so I'm gonna
from
say
lunch.
it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Okay,
have the mic,
thank
so I'm
you.
going to say it. The last one is the governance
Please, can I? Sorry.
of the project. So I wish to share, sorry.
No. Can you please share afterwards? There's plenty of opportunity. I'm sorry, we can't keep everyone here, and I want to hear the answers to the questions that you've asked and the other person's asked.
So, one more time, me. Thank you for the question. Okay, of course, to help you having a better technical view, because I assume from your field of studies that you are fond of technicalities, I can give you some more details even later. What I can tell you now is that we have no storage foreseen in this project. It was not planned since the beginning, for the simple reason that we have decided to attack the problem of intermittence of production of energy from the hosting capacity side first. It was a good, in our simulation, and that's what is published in the project documents, that we are going to increase, I think, at least by 10%, but probably also 20% the hosting capacity. The network itself is not able to maintain a sufficient, without this implementation of smart grid techniques, a sufficient flow of energy without interruptions. And we are reducing the amount of interruptions and the duration, the medium duration of each single interruption. Unfortunately, not in this moment I'm able to give you a number which you probably would like to hear, for the simple reason that these numbers are, contractually speaking, part of our KPIs of the project. And the KPIs have to be delivered officially and submitted to our counterpart in 1 year from now. So we have them at home. We are checking if we can commit on them, but we will officialize them. If you follow us, and there will be a website, probably since today, I think we have put online a website. You will hear and have more details. If you want, I can provide you even later some more details. And thank you for the question.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to talk about the land use and biofuels issue now, but related to the jobs, I wanted to say that it's indeed very complicated, and you have to look at a case by case. Case by case, you have to look at the job impacts, and we have seen and heard that it's very complicated. You have effects that are triggering loss or creation of jobs in the whole value chain. And I was very surprised, and I think it's an amazing example that you see. I heard that maybe the polyactive network project will lead to increased tourism in the region because you allow electric vehicles to travel there. And it was an effect I have never thought about it before. I have never heard about it. So I was really surprised and astonished. And I think this is the things you have to capture if you want to look at the job impacts. And just one more thing. The example of having before one big electricity plant in a region, and now we are moving to a more decentralized energy system that will also, I think, for me it's logical. If you have now 40,000 smaller installations, it will help to distribute in an area maybe the jobs from a more centralized system to a more decentralized system. But I don't have numbers at hand, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions. I'm sorry we've not had much time to go into more detail and more questions, but there is the lunchtime. Please do come and speak to our speakers. On behalf of DG Environment at the European Commission, I would like to thank our expert speakers, really illuminating interesting projects. Thank you here in the audience, and thanks to everyone watching online as well. Of course, thanks to our interpreters who have now had to go, and to our technicians who've helped us use our microphones and the PowerPoints all perfectly. Don't forget to return your headsets just outside if you took them for the interpretation. And the Green Week organisers say, please don't forget to fill in your feedback forms, which are just downstairs, ground floor next to the information stand. At 2:30, there's going to be a plenary session in Green Jobs for the Future, being held in the ballroom on the ground floor. Before then, you'll be delighted to know it's lunch. That's going to be downstairs. Take the opportunity to have a look at the stands and the exhibitions and take selfies at the sunglasses puzzle during the break. And on that note, I'm going to wish you buon appetito and say cheese when you take your photos.
Can I also say that there is 2 floors to eat, so you can go on the ground floor and the first one, because there might be lots of people downstairs, all right?